Last week on Legally Kidnapped.
Good evening. Our top story this week. A social worker from Kentucky stands accused of lying about her cases by falsifying investigations of suspected abuse and neglect and closing the cases as unfounded over a period of 4 years. In Oklahoma this week, the child protective industry gets caught misrepresenting the number of children who are abused in out-of-home state custody. The Oklahoma legislature creates a task force to study DHS and recommend changes. The new child welfare chief of Oklahoma vows to restore confidence in the child protective industry, and a new law could delay family reunification in Oklahoma. In Arizona, top CPS agents meet with some California lawyers to find ways to reduce the number of babies and young children from living in group homes and crisis shelters. An Arizona legislative committee refuses to delve any deeper into the state's child protective industry failures, saying that they have already done enough to address problems raised by 3 state audits since 2009. Texas Governor Rick Perry is accused of repeatedly cutting child abuse funding in a time when child abuse and neglect are on the rise, and Nebraska is still trying to figure out what to do with their mess of a child welfare system. In Illinois, a bill is introduced into the state Senate that would allow Catholic charities to continue their foster care and adoption operations in spite of their refusal to bow down to the state's gay rights agenda, even though the number of gays adopting your kids has already spiked in the last decade, and presidential candidate Mitt Romney goes on CNN and completely dodges the question in regards to his views on gay adoption. New York City reaches an agreement to help former foster kids find housing after a lawsuit claimed that the city allowed foster children to become immediately homeless upon leaving the system. And the child protective industry in Washington, D.C. prepares kids for homelessness by booting them out of the system as soon as they turn 18. New studies are showing an increase in abuse, psychological, and educational problems in foster children. Congress decides to address the problem of poor school performance in foster kids, with Senator Al Franken being expected to amend No Child Left Behind to benefit foster kids so that more of them can stay in the same school system opposed to being bounced around from town to town. And the Massachusetts legislature cuts a program that waived tuition for former foster kids, thus effectively putting all of that debt onto them. In Florida this week, a state senator wants answers from the Department of Justice regarding the overuse of psychiatric meds on kids in juvenile detention facilities. In Nevada, the Clark County Department of Family Services fails to implement a plan to reduce psychiatric drug use on their foster kids. A study reveals that profanity on television is the cause of foul-mouthed kids. Another new study reveals that 91% of American kids regularly play video games, and the drug companies are rejoicing as new guidelines from the American Academy of Pediatrics says that kids as young as 4 can now be diagnosed with and treated for ADHD. In Maine this week, an employee of the Department of Environmental Protection claims that she was unfairly demoted from her job for testifying before a legislative committee against killing a program that protects children from harmful chemicals. A study by Every Child Matters reports that the USA has the worst child abuse death rate in the world amongst industrialized nations. Another new survey reveals that 1 in 10 American adults have been falsely accused of domestic violence, child abuse, or sexual assault. In Wisconsin, the state Supreme Court delays a decision that would require the state to provide lawyers on cases where basic human rights such as child custody are at stake. In the best-selling child abuse classic Sybil, which planted the notion of repressed memory syndrome into the American consciousness, is exposed as a fake. In Austria this week, a number of former foster children come forward to claim that they were systematically raped in a Vienna foster home back in the 1970s. In Denmark, a study finds that a 50-50 shared parenting arrangement in child custody cases works wonderfully when the parents get along. The government of Ghana, Africa decides to release about 1,000 women and 700 children who have been accused of witchcraft from refugee camps and send them back home. And in Ireland, it is found that 35 kids died while under the watchful eye of the child protective industry over the last 18 months. South Africa tightens rules for adoption in light of Madonna's adoptions in Malawi and a commercial surrogacy boom in India, as the Indian government considers a proposal to allow transgendered people to adopt kids. And West Bengal police are suspected to be protecting child traffickers. In Canada this week, researchers at the University of Manitoba suggest that foster children are more likely to commit suicide than other kids, but that the likelihood decreases the longer they stay in the system. 6 kids in British Columbia win almost $1 million after Canadian CPS agents failed to remove them from an abusive home. And a foster mother gets 6 years in prison for killing a 3-year-old in her care. In England, the watchdog group Ofsted is picking on Birmingham's child protective industry country for not adequately assessing child abuse accusations. The UK fails to stop putting immigrant children in detention facilities. And Cornwall's Children's Services spends thousands of taxpayer pounds on a controversial child abuse conference at a four-star Cornish hotel. In entertainment news this week, actress Halle Berry wins full custody of her daughter from Gabriel Aubry. Mel Gibson's custody settlement is delayed so him and the gold digger can have more time to work out the terms. Mariah Carey goes on 2020 to talk about her infertility and being investigated by CPS agents. Author Lemony Snicket goes on MTV to help explain Occupy Wall Street to kids. Daniel Baldwin says that CPS agents snatched his kids from his estranged wife's home, and she says, oh no they didn't. A foster mother from Colorado is charged with inflicting injuries on a 7-month-old baby that was so bad that it may leave the child blind for life. A longtime foster parent from Michigan gets 25 to 60 years in jail for sexually assaulting foster kids. A former cop and CPS agent from Oregon is charged with sexually abusing 5 girls under 12 years of age. In New Mexico, the trial is on for two 15-year-old foster kids who are accused of murdering their foster mom. Bond is set for $200,000 apiece for a fair of New Mexico foster parents who abused a 4-year-old in their care. And another foster mother is shocked by the case amidst claims from the child protective industry that abuse in foster care is, quote, very rare, end quote. In Florida this week, the judge in the case of a 10-year-old twin who was killed by her adoptive parents orders dozens of CPS agents to appear before her and swear that they didn't leak the info on the case to the newspaper. But because everybody knows, they decided to make it look like they care about Nubia Barahona by naming a street after her. In Colorado, a vigil is held for the foster father and 5 foster kids that were killed when the van they were riding in smashed into the ass end of an 18-wheeler. And the family releases a statement saying that they think he had a heart attack while at the wheel. In Nevada, state inspectors find 6 foster kids living in unhealthy conditions. And finally tonight, a Stanford law professor named Ralph Richard Banks wins our Asshole of the Week award by suggesting that African American women should look outside of their race in order to find a successful man. For these stories and all the latest dirt on the child protective industry, visit www.legallykidnapped.com. And until next week, this is Baby LK, over and out.